Hello, aloha to everyone through this live stream. I want to start off today and start. Everyone go ahead, if you've been to any of our seminars or anyone shared with you any of what we do in the Still Point community. Big part of that, the first thing we do is take a moment and just simply drop into what we call Still Point, or the space between the breath. And it's a very easy process. Anyone can do this. I always say people think we're mostly a laser company, and we're part laser. We're really bigger part, a message of how to help relax, unwind, and dissolve challenges, stress, karma, injuries, so that they can relax. To me, all of these things are the same thing, whether it's an injury, whether it's an emotion, whether it's a stressor, whether it's a thought. They're all a compression, a contraction of energy. And my goal perpetually is a lot of that stuff going on the planet right now, a lot of challenges. Today alone, we've had a number of challenges. And so, to me, that's a given. It's like being out in a bay and the big waves coming in. Well, everything in the bay, the boats, the buoys, the fish, the birds, everything's getting kicked and knocked around. That's what's happening right now in our society, on our planet, in the environment, etc. And so the goal of our Quantum Wave community, Still Point Network, is to welcome those things, dissolve those things. Easy way. We're going to show you two very easy ways to do that today on this live stream. The first, and I start every seminar with this, is to simply take a breath in. Breath goes up and then down like a pendulum, up and then down. Take breath in, relax, let go. There's a space in between the breath. You can drop in at the bottom or take another breath in and simply, for new folks, easy way to do is take a breath in and simply wait, drop right into the space in between at the top. It feels like holding the breath, just like holding the breath. And as you rest here, the breath will keep going. We're not holding the breath indefinitely. The breath keeps going. It regulates like it does when you sleep. And yet we're staying right here in this space between the breath. And for folks in our network who come to our seminars and practice this process and use our lasers, one of the beautiful things about our laser system for me is the more I use it, and I hear this from many people around the globe. We have over 10,000 people using our lasers. There's roughly 18,000 people that tune into our live streams that emails go out to, a large network. Many people find when they use our laser, they begin to get more comfortable dropping into this space in between the breath. The reason I like to live in this space right here, and throughout the course of the seminar we're doing here today, every so often I'm going to suggest take a nice breath in and drop into Still Point. Notice as you're resting right here, the reason I like to live here, notice, try to hold on to a thought or an emotion as you're resting here. It's not so easy. Try to find an area of tension or pain in your body while you're resting here. Again, not so easy. And the most important reason I like to live here, and I hear this so often in our seminars, as you're resting here in Still Point, which, by the way, I didn't come up with. Many different shamans and healers and yogis and saints the world over talk about the breathless state, the space between the breath. In cranial osteopathy and different systems, call it Still Point. We just simplified a system to make it really easy to start to practically use it in everyday life. Every yogi and meditator, contemplative mystic understands this process in this situation. By mystic, I mean people who meditate and shift, go into the wilderness, every tradition, under the tree, in the wilderness, in the cave, in the mount, and dissolve the karmas, the physical, emotional, psychic karmas, come back to this place. When I ask people who are new, what does it feel like resting here? The thing I often hear is it feels like coming home. It feels nice. So today we're going to build on this a little bit. As we get started, I want to start off by thanking all of our helpers there in Yorkton. You know, when things go right, I tell you, the measure of an individual, from my perspective, is how do they handle and process things when they don't go as planned, when they don't go well. It's easy when everything's going along, everything's great, there's no challenges. Well, the challenges come when there's major illness, when there's loss, when there's major challenges, when companies have issues. That's when we see what people are really made of. And so I want to thank the emissaries that are there today for doing the work that you're doing. We really appreciate it. Lydia, Cindy, Dr. Michael, and the other emissaries there, thank you so much. We appreciate what you're doing and the work in sharing the laser and this message. I want to start, make sure everyone has a laser, pass out the laser. I want to jump right in to lasers. And today, for the focus, we're going to do a first session where I go over extensively the basic tenets of laser therapy. And I want to keep this simple. I was kind of I'm going to give everyone a moment to pass out lasers. Hopefully lasers are passed out. I'm not going to wait too long because probably maybe you've already passed them out. This system, this laser that I'm sharing with you today is technically called a cold laser or a low-level laser. You can turn it on by simply pressing the star button. It turns on. If you right arrow, it goes on. Doesn't even matter which setting. There's a few settings in here. The setting is not important. What is important, what the laser does and what is so important is the laser donates energy in the form of photons. This is, as I mentioned, a low-level laser therapy, a cold laser therapy system. The laser has a very specific action of donating energy in the form of photon, which are packets of energy. A photon is like a little packet of energy that's being sent. We are familiarized with photon energy primarily with our primary source of it here on planet Earth, the sun, our star. Our star, our planet is like a part of a larger organism, a larger cell. And it's very much like the cell. In fact, in my looking at, over many years, my interest in the cell and how to understand how to regenerate the cell, the comparisons are profound if you look at our body as a microcosm in the larger macrocosm. And to me, nothing is more clear to that than our star with the center as it's emanating energy, which is nourishing and helping all the different facets and things going on in this star system. Well, that happens through the process of photons. The sun gives off photons. Well, if you're a gardener or a farmer, you understand this because when you garden, when you farm, your primary directive is to make sure you do it in the line of energy of the sun. You want to make sure you do it in sunlight. Why? The sun delivers photons. Those packets of energy go into the fruits and vegetables and plants, and they energize them so they can grow. Well, from my perspective, the human body and the cell, for that matter, operate in the exact same fashion. Exact same fashion. And so when I work with people or things, I'm really clear about this. I don't jump in and try to fix and cure and heal everyone and say, oh, the laser is going to fix this and heal and cure. I don't have that view at all. My primary view when I work with my own body, and we're going to dig in because I had a little slip yesterday, and so I have a very good area, and we're going to use that as an opportunity to show you exactly how we use the laser, and many people in our community and network use the laser to address different issues and challenges that they might have going on in their life. That's why we're here. That's what's important here, is that we have tools and resources to address challenges and situations that we're dealing with. Well, in my life, in my journey, my goal is one key thing when I'm dealing with a challenge or a situation. And I say this because currently, right now on our planet, people have been brainwashed. I tell people this a lot. At every seminar I do, the major underlying program that this is like a computer here, perception. And whatever program you run in life is what you're going to get. And that translates in health. A lot of people are running the program that the body is not very good at finding solutions, that if there's a challenge, it can't find solutions, the body doesn't regenerate, which is a very problematic process for a lot of people around health. At least in the U.S., it's a huge issue from my perspective. And so I tell everyone, dissolve that program, delete that program, because it's not accurate. Your body is profoundly adept and capable to regenerate new cells. In fact, the only thing your body does ever is to replicate cells, constantly. Constantly. Deepak Chopra was the first person who really popularized this and made it famous. He said, every cell in the body is constantly replicating. They call it the ROR, the rate of regeneration. Your eyes, in 2 days you have brand new eyes. Every nerve, every organ, teeth, hair, bone, everything is constantly replicating and regenerating. So the question that Deepak and others came up with years ago was, if the body is new in 7 or 8 years, why would someone have an injury 10, 15, 20 years later? It's a good question. Why? What's going on here that people are holding on to injuries and stress and challenges And what they came up with was a thing called cellular memory, cell memory. In other words, people have an injury or an issue or a situation, and when that situation happens, the cells in that area hold on to the information. It could be a knee or a shoulder. The information from the injury stays, the new cells keep coming in, and yet the old information gets passed to the new cell. So now the new cell, even though it's a brand new vibrant cell, acts and behaves like the old cell, stressed, shut down, no energy. And that process passes on injuries, emotions, stress, psychological attitudes. My goal in working with this technology is how can I dissolve that situation and donate energy to the cells to get them back on track with regenerating and doing the work that they're designed to do. All right, so what I want to do to start with here, everyone try something. Everyone try one more thing. Take another nice big breath in. As the breath comes out, try to hold on to a thought or an emotion as the breath comes out. Not easy. If you really let go, it's not easy. Try again. Take another big breath in. Now as the breath comes out, relax, let go. Do one more. Take another big breath in. Now as the breath comes out, try to find an area of tension or pain in the body. Can't do it. If the body breathes out, you cannot find injuries, emotions, cell memory. It's not easy to hold that stuff when the body breathes out. This is a key principle of the work that we're going to do here today. When your body goes neutral, when you breathe out, the body goes neutral. When you go neutral, you can't hold on to stuff. The biggest issue by far that I see in North America, people are constantly and chronically holding on to old injuries, old emotions, old stress. And in that process, the cells don't get energy, they're shut down, they don't regenerate, and people have stagnation and old challenges and injuries. My goal in using this technology, to give a very simple reference, our laser donates energy in the form of photons. That photon energy is designed very specifically to donate energy into the cell. That energy goes in and stimulates the cell to replicate and regenerate. Proven science, many studies the world over have now qualified and confirmed that cold laser therapy, low-level laser therapy, is very good at helping cells to replicate and regenerate. And I just want to touch in on the physics of that a little bit, how that works. Our system uses 3 different wavelengths. The first wavelength that we use is red lasers. Most companies on the market do not use 3 wavelengths. We use 3. From my perspective, I like red lasers because red lasers are really good for surface tissue, for skin, for muscle, for nerve. Many people in the esthetician world using our lasers. Dental situations. I got into lasers 10, 11 years ago because of a tooth problem I had. Major infection above a front tooth. This is what laser therapy is what helped that situation. I had major bone loss above that tooth, chronic pain, low-grade infection. My father's a dentist, taught at Yale, kept telling me I had to pull the front tooth. I didn't want to pull the front tooth for a number of reasons. I liked it. My background's in cranial work, and in cranial work you don't want to pull a front tooth because if you do, they say you have to bridge across the center, which can shut down the right and left sides of the cranium. So literally, I used red laser to completely clean up that ongoing, long-standing infection above the front tooth. Red lasers are profoundly good for helping to move the blood, get more oxygen, electrons, great for infections, soft tissue healing, nerve work with meridians. And I'm going to get into this a little more in depth in terms of exactly how we use the different probes today. One of my goals today is to really focus on more deeper, advanced work with the probes. Each probe has a different function. Like I mentioned, the red one is designed for surface cells. The infrared goes much deeper and is designed for bone and tendon and cartilage and disc. There are numerous clinical studies that have been done in the laser therapy industry that confirm infrared. You can't see infrared so well. Infrared is a non-visible wavelength, which means the human eye does not pick it up. Yet that infrared wavelength is profound. Cameras often see it. There's a beam that shoots out. Why is it important? Because it goes much past the bone, the surface skin, muscle, nerve, and goes right into the bone, tendon, cartilage, and disc. In fact, after I used red lasers initially to help clean up the infection and tissue, soft tissue situation in my above front tooth here, I then began using the infrared one up there. This, from my perspective, is what helped me regenerate the bone above the front tooth. Literally, I had major bone loss above this area from the infection, which is common when there's bacteria, arthritic situations, herniated discs. Whenever you have ongoing, long-standing issues, often there's low-grade microbial, low blood supply, you get bone loss. Well, the key, again, I tell everyone in our seminars, everywhere we go, the body is constantly replicating and regenerate. Be really clear about this. It's like a computer. If you run a computer program, when you turn it on, you get whatever's in that program. Everyone take a moment, just drop into still point for a moment. You know, still point is a technology. To me, still point's like deleting, it's like a delete key. So you run a program, which a lot of people on planet Earth do, around the body not, you know, doctors tell people you have bone on bone, you need surgery, but knees don't regenerate. Nerves, they say, don't regenerate. Organs don't regenerate. Eyes don't regenerate. Literally, according to the Western mainstream doctor protocol, nothing in the body regenerates. Which from my perspective is erroneous. It's simply not the truth. So I'm a big believer in Western medicine. I am not the kind of alternative person that says no to Western medicine. Yet from my perspective, it has some intrinsic problems, needs some fine-tuning. And I want to say this because the key program to be running right now in your life is that the cells in the body do very well at regenerating. It's in fact all they do is to regenerate. So be really clear about this because whatever program you have is going to affect the actual experience that you're having. Infrared lasers, from my perspective, are profoundly good for deeper-seated bone, tendon, cartilage, and disc. Now, a lot of laser companies only use infrared. In fact, Canada has 2 or 3 companies that charge $30,000, $40,000 for an infrared laser. When lasers got started in the cold laser industry, most of the old veterinary lasers, which is what they were all called back then, because FDA, Health Canada, didn't approve lasers for use on people. So they all said veterinary care. Often they were infrared lasers, big clunky lasers with a little infrared diode in there, often less powerful than this. This is a 100 milliwatt violet laser. Many of the ones commonplace in the industry are 5 milliwatt lasers. And the benefit to infrared is that it goes deep in for deeper seated tissue. From my perspective, infrared is not designed to work on soft tissue, on muscles, on myofascia, on nerve. By the way, another company recently approved through FDA that infrared lasers are actually beneficial for working on neurons. They've proved that, this is fascinating, another company has proved recently that infrared lasers have been approved by FDA for regenerating brain cell and neuron activity in the brain. That's huge. That's like out of science fiction. Prior to that, no company had made any claims. In fact, they used to say neurons can't be regenerated. That was the old story. Now they're saying, actually, wow, now neurons can be regenerated. Well, when I heard that, it wasn't shocking to me. I've been telling people for years, everything in the body is regenerating. If any single part of the body stopped regenerating cells, you wouldn't be here anymore. You'd be done. This is what's so important about our seminar process. You know, today we're going to focus mostly on lasers. Yet for folks that are more drawn to we have day-long still point seminars, weekend still point seminars, and then whole still point retreats, which happen every quarter. Many of the people, raise your hand if you've been to one of our still point retreats in the group there. Our videographer always raises his hand. I mean in the group there, and any of the groups we have going on. Our still point retreats are designed for people that really want to understand how this system, the regenerative body, really works. Through diet, through detox, through using lasers, and a number of other technologies. The third wavelength that we use in our system is the violet laser wavelength. Violet lasers are not commonly used in our industry. They're not commonly used because violet lasers, when they first came out a couple years ago, the violet laser diodes ranged between anywhere from $1,500 to $3,000, $4,000 for the diode, before a company like us even puts us in. So we are the only other viable approved violet laser on the market right now. They charge $18,000 for theirs. $18,000. It's a 20 milliwatt violet laser. Ours is a 100 milliwatt violet laser. This is the most powerful violet laser in the industry from my perspective, and for an amazing price relative to any other system that's out there. You know, people often say, gee, you know, how do you deal with new customers, if they say, gee, this laser is expensive, I say, go out and research lasers, because all of the comparable laser technologies to this system start at $15,000, $20,000, $35,000, $40,000, upwards of $60,000, $65,000. There is no laser at lower price point that has comparable technology to what we have. And even many of those ones have one diode or 2 or 3 diodes. We have 16 laser diodes here. We have 3 different wavelength probes that are 100 milliwatt lasers. We have portability, we have scalar wave technology, we have programmability. The features in this laser are such a value relative to the other systems that are out there. And I often tell people, look, this is the price of a cup of coffee a day. We finance people, we don't turn anyone away. I mean, this is something that I give you 5 years before every house on planet Earth has a laser, same as with a computer right now. Very soon, every home will have a laser. When Sony comes in and gets involved, when big companies want to bring the prices down and get involved, they're all not getting involved because it's a medical device. And medical devices mean a lot of paperwork, a lot of liability. The reason lasers, small companies like us, we're trying to bring the price down more, it's because of liability, it's because of ISO 1345 medical device compliance, it's because each country has a regulatory thing, FDA, Health Canada, CE in Europe, TGA in Australia, and there's a ton of stuff that needs to happen. It's very costly to get through these different regulatory bodies, and as a result, and then you have the manufacturing of the laser. So there's a number of reasons that complicate and make the price of lasers not an easy thing. When companies figure out a way to do it in a big way, they're going to come in, they're going to drive the prices of diodes down. Every home will have a laser on planet Earth. This is a no-brainer when you understand the physics and anatomy of the body. The body, as I learned on Discovery Channel, which is where I learn everything, I'm not highly educated, I just watch a lot of Discovery Channel. These scientists on there were saying, we are definitively clothed on this planet, the body, clothed our bodies with stellar and cosmic dust. In other words, we are woven of compressed light. Elements are compressed light, and our bodies are woven of these elements. So, from my perspective, I saw that and I said, obviously, that's why we love lasers. This is a system, a technology using coherent, very subtle, refined, yet powerful light to donate energy specifically to key areas, to help those areas to have energy and to find solutions, more blood flow, more oxygen, more electrons, more ATP, which is the key action of lasers. The key thing that lasers do is they donate ATP, which is called adenosine triphosphate. It's a very overrated fancy word. To keep it simple, it simply means cellular energy. Lasers, studies show, increase the output when you use them over an area of cellular energy. Why is that important? Because energy is what drives everything in the universe, from stars to galaxies to planets to elements to cells to plants to cell phones to cars to homes to computers. Every single thing works the same way. Energy equals productivity. If you can deliver energy to an area that's having challenges, from my perspective, you're getting the process going to start to kick in those cells, to get more blood flow, and ultimately to trend that situation to a situation that's going to start to find solutions to what's going on. That is why Lily and I, in our world, use lasers every single day. We use lasers. I cannot say this enough. And I want to be clear, because I'm not a doctor, I'm not an expert. I don't have anything to tell you that some follow me. I don't try to fix people. I don't try to cure people. I don't try to heal people. I don't view the laser as fixing, curing, healing. The only thing I do, and if anyone hangs around with me, the only thing that I am is persistent. I try a lot of things, and to the point where it can probably aggravate people at moments. I try things. Why? Because from my perspective, there's only one truth that I found in my journey around the body, and that is that the body in one moment is going to be different than it is right now. And that next moment is like a stock chart. It's either going down or it's going up. Exactly like a stock chart. Next moment's going to be different, going down or it's going up. Well, a lot of people live on planet Earth and they just kind of go along and it's like that next moment's some random happenstance chance. For me, I like to participate with that next moment. So all the stuff we share in our seminars, the work that we do, our community, our retreats, the lasers, our Wi-Fi, which we're going to share a little bit later, all of them are things that I developed in part, Lily and I developed in part, so that we can not control the next moment, to help guide and steward that next moment. In the case of the body, the next moment is based on one thing, energy. Just like a stock, no energy, things degenerate, deteriorate, they go down. Good vital energy situations go up, they regenerate, purify, regenerate. Exactly like a stock, same principles. In fact, I often cite, years ago in Russia, the government there did studies, and they found the average person has a field that emanates 5 to 10 feet around the body. They measured lots of people, and they found that people with a strong vital field of energy were way less prone to pain, chronic pain, autoimmune, and psychological issues than people who they couldn't detect that field of energy so much. Another person wrote a book. They said animals detect the field of the animal. They go after the weakest animals in the herd to thin the pack out. From my perspective, our process is about how do we strengthen this field of energy. The only attraction I have to lasers, I want to strengthen this space of energy. I want cells to have energy. I want organs to have energy. I want the different chakra centers to have energy. If you have an injury, I want it to have energy. I want the lymph system to have energy. So every day, from my perspective, I touched last night on the conference call we did last night. Emissaries should watch that call. It was a really important call regarding some of the new stuff we're covering at our seminars that has to do with what we call the light body or the lotus body. In other words, the energy that surrounds the human body. To me, I want to make sure and have tools every day. How can I work on this body, this situation? Well, back to the violet probe. The violet probe is profoundly good at working on this subtle experience of energy around the body. It's profoundly good at helping balance out emotions. It's profoundly good at helping to deal with the meridians, the chakras. It's profoundly good for regeneration. Studies have shown violet light's antibacterial, which makes them great for dental applications. There are some studies that indicate that violet light is really good for whitening teeth. Acne, some countries have approved violet lasers for acne. Why? Because acne is a bacteria. And violet light knocks out, destroys bacterial, viral, and fungal situations. Also really good for cosmetic applications. Enzyme within the cell, genetic mitochondrial-based enzymes. And all sorts of neat stuff. We cover how to use violet lasers. Even using it right now for me, it has a great effect. It's kind of putting me in a nice, relaxed kind of space. This is the violet probe. This afternoon I'm going to cover a little more in depth about how to use the probes specifically to help the body unwind. For folks that want to get more in depth into our laser therapeutic process, you want to try to find your way up to our upcoming retreat in Vermont. I mentioned last night, if anyone isn't coming in our network, emissaries, you really want to consider coming because Vermont is a very sacred, special place. It's over the summer solstice. We're going to cover advanced laser protocols using the probes and helping to work on different myofascial unwinding, working on how to decompress neuroenergetic points on the body. We're going to cover some neat stuff. Again, this is the violet. It's for surface kind of, energetic situations. Not so much surface, more energetic situations. So to recap, I just want to requalify this because if you understand about our technology, it'll help you as you're researching in the world of lasers and see what is the unique kind of difference. And I'm very careful here because there's a lot of laser companies out there, many of whom are in the business of telling you why theirs is the best and everyone else stinks. And I don't share that approach. My view is all light is good. I never put down other lasers. I'm a big believer. I watched an infomercial the other night on another laser company, a very basic, low-powered laser. And, it was interesting to watch and to see. I would never put down that company. To me, as watching it, I said, my goodness, I'm glad we have our laser. To me, it was very boring. They just rubbed it over the area, rubbed it over the area, rubbed it over the area. In fact, I often say, people, wish we gave out more protocols. And I tell people, go and watch any other laser. They tell you, turn it on and hold it over the area. That's it. You don't get anything else. Today, I'm going to lay out with you a whole sequence of different ways that you can use our laser. We give, and it's one of the key selling points for emissaries of why people should come into the quantum wave community. When you come in, you don't just get a laser, you get ongoing conference calls, live streams, free events, free protocols, free retreats, win your trips. We have all sorts of amazing things that we offer to people in our community that are all designed to help support people on their journey of using the laser and getting successful results. Not just for injuries, but also for living on the planet and having a nice, relaxed, and neutral experience. Everyone take a breath, drop in, and just drop into the space in between the breath again. All right, I want to jump right in. Everyone turn the laser on, pick a program. You can do Unwind, you can do Quantum, and find an area that you've been having some challenges with in the past couple of days, past week, past month. Maybe it's an injury. I had a slip yesterday. I was stepping in the shower. As I stepped in the shower, it was just really wet, which I guess is what happens in the shower. Well, some hotels, some places we're at, the material of the tub can be really more slippery when it's wet. Well, I stepped in and I slipped as I stepped in, and my upper body kind of counter-torqued. Thank goodness, because if it hadn't, I was able to not fall down and take a good hit. Well, the net effect is this whole side of the body was in a state of spasm until we did the live stream last night and I unwound it. Since then, it's been pretty good. It's been, I'd say, 80-90% better. There's still a little residue there. So whatever's going on, I just want to show you a very simple way that we use the laser before we jump into a couple other protocols. First thing I'm doing is I'm just working around this area. And I often tell people, demystify the notion that you need to be some kind of anatomical expert or doctor. You don't. You can tell where the pain is, where an injury is. People come to me and they tell me they have this issue, they have this issue. If I haven't heard of it or I'm not sure about it, I just say, well, where is it? How does it affect you? Where is it at? And they point to here. They say, oh, it's here. And I say, great, let's just put the laser over that area. This laser is an approved medical device, like aspirin. It's over-the-counter approved. Everyone take note of this. It's an over-the-counter medical device. For starters, there are a number of different ways that people use lasers. There's medical, there's cosmetic. In most countries, cosmetic is a voluntary process. There's veterinary. Veterinary is non-regulated, use on animals. There's yoga. We have a lot of yoga healers that work purely as an energy approach for relaxation, flow of energy. Those are the 4 key ways that people use lasers. Well, our system is cleared. Most laser companies, 70% of laser companies out there, especially the really inexpensive laser pointer ones, they don't go through. The reason they can keep the price very low is they use very basic lasers and they don't go through the ISO process or the medical device process. So they're not approved. And in the process, that is, from my perspective, one of the key differentiations with what I call medical cleared and approved technologies. Our laser is approved by FDA, we're approved by Health Canada, we're approved all of Europe CE, and we're approved by Australia TGA and some other countries. The reason that's important from my perspective is it enables chiropractors and sports teams to use our lasers, and it shows that we've done extensive research and clinical studies and usability studies and a whole safety efficacy studies, etc. And it is a key component to our approach to using lasers. What makes our system unique is that we're approved as an over-the-counter device. So of those devices that are approved as a pain relief device, and I'm just kind of trying a couple of programs here. I was on Quantum. I just changed and put it on Activate. And as you're using it, just check in and see which one feels good. If you're using one and you're not sure it's feeling so good, I tell people, like TV, just turn it off, switch to a different program, try another one. I was feeling Quantum. I was feeling okay, a little bit kind of like this, and so I changed. I put it on Activate. As soon as I put it on Activate, I felt my body start to relax. When I use the laser, I'm looking for my body to decompress, to unwind, to dissolve. That's what constitutes to me a technology that I want to use. There's a lot of lasers out there I've tried. I use it, and I use it in my body. It stimulates me. And for me, I'm not interested in being stimulated. This is what makes our system very different. Our system is an unwinding effect. We call it still point effect. When I use the laser, to me, if there's an injury or pain, the problem is it's stimulated. That is the problem. So for me to come in and use a device that's going to stimulate something, unattractive to me. Unattractive. When I want to use a laser, my primary goal is how do I send some energy in there and also say to that area, hey, let's unwind, let's relax. We design this. We do numerous things. We have patented technology that makes the lasers very soft and gentle. We make rounded sine waves. No other company does this. Everyone else has jagged square waves, unrefined square waves. I've seen some lasers recently where the wave structure coming out of them was completely unmodulated. We have very nice rounded sine waves, We position the lasers in very specific geometrical progressions to help induce a sacred unwinding effect response, elliptical, a very specific response to induce nonlinear dimensional fields. We use 3 red, infrared, and violet in a very specific wavelengths to get this effect. So there's a very specific effect that I'm looking to get when I use lasers. Our clearance is over the counter as pain relief, inflammation, circulation, arthritic pain, and relaxation of tissue. 95% of lasers on the market that you see are cleared for prescription use, which means you need to be a doctor or get a prescription to use them. Ours is for over-the-counter, which means anybody can buy our laser. This is a unique selling point and one of the key reasons why the quantum wave community is growing globally, because anyone can buy this laser. Price, it's not inexpensive, yet you compare to others that have not even the same amount of technology, and our price point is significantly lower than those other companies. All right, that's the shoulder. As I'm doing this shoulder, I can totally feel my neck, my shoulder, this whole area kind of relaxing, dissolving. I don't even feel any strain or pressure or stress in the area at all right now. So that's great. And you'll see, I started off, I went here, I went up around the back area. There was no specific situation. I just kind of moved it around until I felt the body starting to unwind and decompress. All right, great. The next thing I'm going to do, I want to jump right quick into an unwind protocol. For folks that have been in our community or been to our events, first thing I'm going to work on is the adrenals. The adrenals are halfway up the body, either side of the spine, midsection of the body. I'm not saying our laser works on adrenals. It's not designed to work on adrenals. It's designed to unwind things. And so when I put it over any area, I'm not even right over the adrenals. I'm actually a little bit higher than the adrenals. Halfway up the body, on the back. Got some exciting news a couple of days ago. We've sold a bunch of lasers to folks on the San Francisco 49ers. We found out that there's some of the, and we only found out because one of the trainers called our company to order a laser for one of their professional athletes on the San Francisco 49ers. And we found out, well, gee, how'd you hear about us? And they said, we got someone, because we told them, well, we have a referral program. And they didn't know anything about it. They didn't really care about the referral program. But so they said, oh, well, so-and-so on our team has it. And so they've been passing it from person to person, and that adds to our list of professional athletes using the scalar laser. Now, a lot of these teams, by the way, I've sold lasers to New York Giants, to the Miami Heat. Many of these teams have 3 or 4 lasers. In some cases, they have a $50,000 laser. They have a $35,000 laser. Then they call and they talk to us, and I tell them about our unique patented scalar technology, and they say, well, we tried that, and we felt that. We felt it had an effect. We didn't understand why, and I explain it to them, and that's when they end up buying lasers. And in some cases, they'll buy 3, 4 packages of lasers. Why do sports teams use lasers? They're all using lasers. Soccer teams, hockey teams, Olympic teams. We've sold lasers with people on the U.S. Olympic team. We have folks in every country around the globe professionally using this laser. We have professional musicians using this laser to help on their throat. Chaka Khan, famous musician, she uses the laser, loves it, says it's, she did a video testimonial for us recently, which we're going to make available. And in the testimonial, the last thing she finishes, she gave us probably like a 40-minute testimonial. And this is Chaka Khan. She's world famous actress and also pop star, diva, pop star, and living here in the Los Angeles area. So my point is, the last thing she said as she was doing her testimonial was, the laser is her best friend. Great quote. Laser is her best friend. Many people in our network feel the same way. For us, we love using the laser. Every day we use the laser. I'm unwinding the other side adrenal right now. I'm just on the unwind. As I'm doing unwind, I can tell it's the right program. I always tell people when you're doing a session, take a moment, drop into still point. Everyone drop into still point. As you're in still point, this is how you do it. You just check in. How does this program feel? Do you feel your body unwinding? When you're in still point, you'll feel one of 2 things. Most people don't ever tune in to this subtle sense perception because they're too busy with thinking going on and emotions going on and all the stuff going on in the rat race of human existence going on. Well, this is why our seminars are so important. When we slow down, when we say, well, hold on here a moment, drop into still point, Now, it's like your computer. It's like freeing up space on your computer to be able to see, okay, this is processing. Oh, geez, this is seized up. It's not processing. When I rest here, I can tell right away, is there a response to this program? Is my body unwinding more? Is it getting tighter? Is it staying the same? As I'm using the Unwind Protocol, my body, it felt good, but it didn't feel like it was, I just changed to quantum. Now I'm going to go right back here again. And I can tell right away, quantum feels like my body's going like this. It's unwinding more. So for me right now, on this area, this is a better program for me. My body's responding by decompressing and unwinding. All I did was change. And I tell people, particularly in our seminars, when they say, well, gee, what if they can't feel anything in this process? And my response to them is always the same. I said, do you feel anything when you're watching TV? And usually at that point, the wife says, yes, he can. Because it's usually a guy that says, what if you can't feel anything? Well, the wife confirms that he can actually feel things. So it's important because when you watch TV and you're on one program, if you don't like it, it doesn't feel good. And so you take the remote, you go to the next program. If you like it, you say, oh yeah, that feels good. You relax, you smile, you put the remote down. This is the exact same thing. And I tell people laugh at first. It's not a joke. I tell people, if you're not sure you're on the right program, simply ask, would you watch this if it was a TV show? I just asked that question and I was like, definitely. I wish they had some TV shows. Discovery is about as close as I can get to this. Because I look at it, I'm like, whoa, look at all those stars, and that's what we're woven of. Great. I like the E.T., the alien one too, the ancient alien one. That's another favorite of mine. My point here is notice the things you're doing and the effect that they're having. Tissue is very basic. It's not complex. Tissue, stressed, shuts down. Relaxed, open. And each of you understands this. You're all experts at this. It's why everyone on planet Earth at night, you're tired after a long day, the body, the emotions, the thoughts. Everyone's like, enough of all that. They relax, they reset, they go back to being rested at ease. And you know what those studies in Russia found? That the government there found the average person, when they sleep, that field that surrounds the body, 5 or 10 feet around the body, goes out another 5 or 10 feet when you sleep. The field goes out even further when the brain waves relax. When the brain waves relax. By the way, you can unwind the adrenals from the front. I often do this when people are in wheelchairs, in hospitals, in hospice. You can do it from the sides. As I do the sides a little bit, it felt real good. Do the sides occasionally. This midsection is huge. I tell everyone, unwind your adrenals every day. If you have our laser, the most important thing you can start with every day is the Unwind Protocol. Why? If your adrenals are built up, ratcheting out adrenaline all day long, adrenaline. Well, what does that mean? That means your body is going to be constantly holding on to things. If you're releasing adrenaline all day, every day, it means your body is going to be holding on to things. And so every person I work with, I tell them to release the adrenals every day. It doesn't take long. The more you do it, it takes 5 or 10 minutes. If the adrenals relax, the problem with adrenaline is that if adrenaline is being pumped into your blood, adrenaline has one key goal in your body. It tells things to hold on. It tells everything fight or flight. Fight or flight in your body is adrenaline. When your body releases adrenaline, it tells things, hold on, there's a danger, and if appropriate, you got to run. That's what your adrenals do. They tell you to stress, to stop what you're doing. They tell the pancreas to stop what it's doing. The prostate, the sexual glands, the pancreas, diabetes, the thymus gland, your immune system. They tell the thyroid, your immune system, your lymph system, the pineal, pituitary, depression, insomnia. Adrenaline tells those different systems to stop doing what those things are doing. That's what adrenaline does. Be really clear about this, because if you have a lot of injuries and stress and challenges and thinking in your life going on, and you're releasing adrenaline, it is going to amplify and accelerate those things. It is going to amplify and accelerate those things. And so, no-brainer. Every day, check this. Unwind it. Make sure it's unwound. If it's unwound, guess what? You're going to go through life and you're not going to contract and react to all that stuff. If your adrenals are cooking and someone comes near you and they're being a little bit kind of off-kilter, you're going to pounce on it. Because that's what adrenaline does. Or you're going to back off and say, I'm getting out of here. If your adrenals are relaxed and at ease, your neighbor's cooking a little bit, not that big deal. Hey, how you doing? They're all upset. Just not a big deal. You're not going to react to things as much. Really important, keep the adrenals unwound. Second key area I want to unwind is the sacrum, the tailbone. This is a really big, important one for a lot of people right now on planet Earth. Really big one right now for people is the sacrum, the tailbone. I'm unwinding the sacral area, tailbone. I just tucked the laser right in the back there. Which feels great. For me, this right now is huge. Anyone who's having structural issues, chronic pain issues, depression, changes going on the planet, not sure you're on the right planet, you want to make sure your sacral area right now is unwound. This is like your foundation point. The sacrum is your foundation point. It's often, to me, like a plumb line or a pendulum. Your spine and your sacrum. Your sacrum means, it's a pendulum. It means sacred bone. And to me, it's so important because if the sacrum's off kilter at all, if your sacrum is tilted to one side, what happens so often if the sacrum is off kilter is the spine goes off kilter. The spine goes off kilter. If you unwind the sacrum, the spine balances back out. So many people's sacrums from sitting on chairs too much, which is a common issue in our society. So many people's sacrums are perpetually locked up, which is hugely problematic to anyone dealing with low back pain. I'll tell you why in a moment. Or knee or foot or leg or lower extremity issues. Anyone comes to me with knee problems, and the sacrum has big nerve trunks that come out of the sacrum. They go down the leg. If the sacrum is tight, there's no what's called nerve conduction, and nerve conduction pumps blood down the sacrum. When it pumps blood down the sacrum, the body gets oxygen, electrons, tissue can heal. Someone comes to me and tells me they have bone on bone. There's no problem with the knee from my perspective. The problem is with the sacrum. The problem is with the sacrum in that the sacrum, in that kind of situation, is no longer pumping blood flow and energy and oxygen down to the knees. So I can't tell you how many people I've sold lasers to over the years who had chronic knee injuries and issues, and all I do is unwind the tailbone. Same thing with lower back problems, major spinal. When people's sacrum is out, the hips countercompensate. That torques the spine, which puts pressure on the nerves. The shoulders then go one way. The hips go one way. The sacrum's like this. The hips are like this. The shoulders are like this. The sphenoid and cranium are like that. And then the person's knees have to figure out how to move them around in gravity. They got to absorb all the shock to try to get that system to hold a structural reference. Easily remedied. This isn't, I didn't make this up. Yogis, Tai Chi, Qigong, they all understand the importance of the sacral area. That's why it's called sacred bone. When it's relaxed and at ease, people relax into gravity. You want to be relaxed into gravity, make sure your adrenals are unwound. So you're not, if you're pumping adrenaline all day long, I have news for you. Guess what? You're going to be like this. Thinking, emotions, injuries, karma. You unwind the adrenaline, body unwinds the adrenaline. It's like a pool of water. You have a pool of water, you put a big light, red light in the pool. All the water molecules light up the color red. Your body is a pool of cells. And if your adrenals are the primary glands that are in play, they're going to release adrenaline. Every cell in your body is going to be getting the signal adrenaline. And what is adrenaline? Adrenaline has a purpose. The purpose of adrenaline is it tells everything to stop. I'm not making this up. This isn't New Age kind of philosophy. Adrenaline tells things to stop. Fight or flight. Why does it tell things to stop? Because the second thing that adrenaline does is it ramps up your blood pressure. Why? So you can run from the danger that's coming. If there's an animal chasing you, adrenaline says, all right, team, all right, everything, stop. We got an issue going on. Ramp up blood pressure. up the tree over there. You know, doctors call everything stress. Stress is the big problem. Stress is what creates aging. Stress is what creates, high blood pressure. Stress is the problem in diabetes. Stress is the problem with genetic issues. It's not stress. Stress is much too, from my perspective, ambiguous. What is stress? Is stress your neighbor? Is stress the government? Who's in America, everyone's all up in arms about the government because of taxes. What is the stress? Stress is not the issue. Adrenaline is the issue. You could have a neighbor that's all bugging out and your adrenals are like this and you get all wound up, or your adrenals are relaxed, your neighbor's tripping out and you're like, hey, I don't even see you. No problem. No stress. Be clear about this, because if you can take stewardship of your adrenals and dissolve adrenaline and start to live your life in this place, I tell you, it'll help longevity. Studies have confirmed this. It'll help your alkalinity in your blood. It'll help you have more oxygen in your blood, more ATP. It'll help your lymph system. It'll help the energy flow in your body. It'll help your organs. It'll help your brain. It'll help your white blood cells. Not the laser. I'm talking about being at ease. Everyone again take a nice big breath in. Barely even have to say that. You didn't even need to take a breath. I just kind of dropped in. Notice that in our groups, and I can tell it from this group, because when I first did it, it was a little bit like we had to pop in and kind of hold it. Now I set it and it's like, whoa, we're there. Notice that. Notice what it's like. This is, in life, most people are not, they're busy breathing. What I'm suggesting, and by the way, they've done studies. They connected a yogi up to an oximeter to see how much oxygen in the cells, and they connected someone jogging, running, and they found the person running was breathing in, more oxygen was coming into the system, yet the person who was relaxed like this and barely breathing, they had more oxygen in the cells. They absorbed more oxygen by being in a state of relaxed equipoise. Which is why babies, when they come in planet Earth, they're loaded with cellular oxygen. They have huge percents more of cellular oxygen than adults who are basically oxygen deprived. When you relax, you absorb more oxygen. When you're stressed, you shut down. Your body shuts down to oxygen. Why is this important? Because oxygen is fuel. Oxygen is the fuel that ramps up energy production so your cells can find solutions and replicate and regenerate. I want to just mention, I often tell people after you've unwound the tailbone sacral area, which is what we just did, I often work directly in the front of the body over an area called the pubic bone. I'm on Wave right now. I'm on a program called Wave, and I'm right below the belly button. There's an area here called the pubic bone, and it's, to me, one of the most important places to work for a lot of people right now on our planet, because it's one of the most repressed places for many people on our planet. This area in the last age has been highly repressed in lieu of, instead of this area, people have said, well, the brain is the important thing. This is something we don't want to go near. Which is very problematic, because the biggest nerve area in the body is not the brain, it's actually the bundle at the base of the spine, which many traditions call the roots of the tree of life. It's the roots down here. It's a big nerve plexus bundle. And the reason this area is so important is because the sacrum, the tailbone, and the pubic bone are like, they work together like a clamshell. And if they're tight, then it makes everything in here tight. It makes the colon tight, digestive issues, irritable bowel issues. It makes the reproductive areas tight. It makes challenges for the prostate for men as they get older. It makes urinary tract situation infections, bladder, incontinence issues, problems. I tell you, if most people on planet Earth every day found some way to unwound the sacrum and unwind the pubic bone, these two areas relax, and there's an area in between called the pelvic floor. Well, that pelvic floor relaxes, and now it's like a house. Your foundation goes like this in your house. The floors buckle, the pipes buckle, the electric buckles, everything goes all over the place. If the foundation is relaxed and at ease like this, the pelvic floor is at ease, the colon, intestines, stomach, elimination system, digestive system, reproductive, then all the organs, everything lines up in the system and works and functions. Huge percents of the population here in this country are completely disorganized down here. As I started saying that, I moved the laser slightly a moment ago, and as I just dissolved. This is what I look for when I'm doing a session. Right here, this is This is why I do sessions. Every day I don't do long sessions for anyone that sees how I do sessions. I like short, 15, 20-minute session. I want to take an area, collapse it till it relaxes, unwinds, and then I'm done. I don't keep using the laser. The laser's not fixing. The laser's just a tool to get some energy in there, to unwind, to dissolve, and to get this situation back here into neutral. All right, this is really good for folks in hospitals, hospice, where you can't reach the sacrum. I tell you, unwinding this area is a huge, huge benefit for a lot of people. I tell a lot of people, I don't care what their challenges are. If you get the adrenals unwound every day for a couple of weeks, a month, you get your tailbone, sacrum unwound every day. And then third key area, the occipital ridge. This is the third key area. 3 areas in this protocol called the Unwind Protocol. 3 areas. First we started today, we did the shoulder, or for me the shoulder, for you any other area, unwinding, trying unwind, quantum, pleo, vital, unity wave, until you felt the area unwind. Now I jumped in, we're doing a very specific unwind protocol. We do adrenals first, sacrum, tailbone second, third, occipital ridge. This is a big one. Occipital ridge is so important because behind the occipital ridge is where the key nerve called the vagus nerve comes out of the cranium. What they found is that a lot of people who are living with adrenaline, stress, / adrenaline, living with adrenaline, what happens to people is their TMJ, the temporomandibular joint, gets pulled and locked in. When the TMJ gets tight and locked in, which a lot of people can have a reference if you've gotten real tense or stressed or TMJ tight, same thing adrenaline does, by the way. What does adrenaline do? Adrenaline does, it shuts things down. It shuts the TMJ down. Problem is when the TMJ gets tight, the occipital ridge gets clamped down, and the vagus nerve, which slips out of there, whoosh, gets shut, like shutting a door. Why is that a problem? Why is that a problem? I just changed from wave to quantum. I will let you deduce and answer why that is a problem. Because as I put quantum on, my body completely dissolved. You can tell when you shift from here to here because it feels good. The body breathes, it relaxes. That's what you want to look at. For folks there using the laser today, to get trained in this system, the key is notice when you feel that shift happen. And if you don't feel anything happen, just keep using the laser. Don't even be concerned about what program. To me, all the programs send light, they send energy, they all have the scalar energy, and they all feel really good. You can hand me on any program. Look, I'll pick any other program. I'm just going to pick any program here. I just randomly went and picked one. And as I do it, again, this one feels good too. Occipital ridge. This is hugely important. The vagus nerve slips out of the occipital ridge. The vagus nerve is the key nerve that tells your organs what to do. It governs your heart. It governs your breathing. It governs digestion. It governs peristalsis. It governs the rhythms in your body. The vagus nerve is like the conductor. It does everything your body does without you thinking about it. And a huge percent of people on planet Earth are stressed. When you're stressed, it shuts down the vagus nerve, which is why when people get very stressed, one of the first things that happens, it shuts down the digestion, it shuts down the heart, people have heart problems, and it shuts down breathing. When people have a lot of stress, directly from the TMJ getting tight and clamping the vagus nerve. I'm on quantum right now. Feels really good. So far we've done the adrenals, we've done the sacrum, the tailbone. Now I'm doing the occipital ridge. I tell everyone these 3 points. If you have our laser, work with these 3 points. They're hugely important. Every day I grab a laser at some point and I make sure the adrenals are unwound. The more you do it, nowadays for me, I could grab a laser in 2 minutes. I've unwound all of them. It's like working out. You work out your 2 weeks. First day you can't work out the next day because it's too. Then you work out every day and eventually you've gotten a rhythm with it and it can happen real fast. For me, if you have never unwound, it can take a little while. The more you do it, I could grab a laser and have these areas unwound in a moment. All right, those are the 3 areas of the unwind. 1 or 2 other real important areas to have as a backup, as a secondary points for the unwind. The first is the sphenoid, right at the temple. A couple other areas that really go really well with the unwind: the sphenoid, the temple. This is really good for anyone dealing with depression, insomnia, too much thinking going on, concerned about things. Really good for snoring, eyesight problems, hearing loss. The sphenoid moves in the cranium. It's the inner workings of the cranium, and it moves. This is a powerful point. This is one of my favorite points. I could do this one point, and it like really balances and organizes my entire body. Powerful, powerful point, the sphenoid. And the last thing I want to do as I'm doing this, notice this, I just changed. I went to activate. I changed the program a little bit. And as soon as I changed the program, I felt my body kind of go from this place, starting to dissolve, starting to unwind. Occasionally I'll go on the body when the laser is used. Our system, when it's used directly on the body, is really good when it's used directly on the body. For physical things, when I go off the body, it's a little more powerful on the energy, on the subtle energy in an area. Last thing I'm going to do in this protocol is I'm just going to scan. In our seminars we call this scanning. I'm just going to scan around the body. Don't you be too concerned. Close your eyes. Don't be concerned about what anyone else is thinking. I do this in public. My view is people are already thinking a lot anyways. Give them something interesting to think about. And I'm just going to scan around the body. I almost always do this one with quantum. I'm just scanning. I'm just looking, kind of like if you were in a garden and you were looking for any areas that might have some rocks or some twigs or some rough clump dirt. I'm just looking around the body, and as I'm going, like right here, I felt my body start to unwind a little bit. So I stop. The key to this is go very slow. Notice when your body, kind of like playing with a cat. You know, you're rubbing the cat, and you go to one area, and you find a good area, and you can tell because the cat like opens up. You know, it starts to purr. There's very specific responses when you're doing that with a dog or a cat, or got the dog upside down, and it's kind of, you know, moving, and you can tell when it really looks like it's enjoying that. Same thing here. You know, when you're working on this, notice when your body takes a breath. Notice when your face starts to smile. You know, that's the key. That's the key to this whole process, is when your body shifts and goes from linear to nonlinear. That is when, from my perspective, energy flows, blood flows, healing starts to happen. All right, good. Now I'm just going to go around the outside. Go behind the body. All right, good. Let's do one more. I want to do one more fast protocol here. One more fast one. So far we did a protocol over an area that you might have a trouble area with. We did an unwind protocol, adrenals, sacrum, occipital ridge. Now I want to just do one final protocol, and then we're going to take a little, I'm going to go over pricing, and we're going to take a little break. And then we're going to come back, and I'm going to show you how to use the probes. First thing I want to do before we do that is the lungs. This is an organ-based protocol. There are 5 key organs in the body. And I want to show you how to use this system to work with them. The first one is the lungs. The lungs are right here. I almost always do this on quantum or unity. But you try. You see which one is good. Try unwind first. Try quantum. Try activate. Try unity. Try wave. I'm doing the lungs right here. Lungs are right here. This is the first organ. I tell you, the organ protocol to me is worth its weight. It is profound protocol. For me, it's like your car. You know, if you have a car, you want it to last a while, what do? You take it in to get it serviced. Everyone knows if you have that car, you know, and you don't do that for a while, eventually at a certain point, the oil, something goes, you blow the water pump, you blow the engine, something happens to it. You take it in, you service it. From my perspective, these 5 organs are like the systems of a car. I joke with folks, you know, most people, the car companies, they map out exactly how long the part lasts before they sell it to you. Then they give you the warranty until the day before the part is going to last. Well, if you take care of it, you have a huge higher % chance of that car lasting a long while. I tell people these organs, this is like our warranty system, and most of us are past the warranty system. Most folks have no reference where their organs are. So I want to walk you through this. I do this at least once a week. First organ I'm working on is the lungs. As I'm doing it, my body is relaxing, is dissolving. It feels good. I can tell when I'm doing a protocol that I like. It's the same way when you watch a TV show and you like it. You're like, this is good. This is great. Well, when I'm doing this, my body is unwinding. It feels great. Why is this one the first one? Because this is like your carburetor. If the lungs, you know, the lungs take in oxygen. Why? Oxygen is fuel. They use liquid oxygen to send rockets to space. When our planet has 30-40% more oxygen in it, we had huge ferns, hundreds of feet high, huge creatures. Babies have huge amounts of oxygen in their blood. They're growing really fast. Oxygen is fuel. It's our fuel source. Well, this is like your carburetor. If this is shut down, you know, anyone who understands machinery or automotive, watch. This is exactly like a machine. Lungs are open, you absorb oxygen, it goes into the blood, it goes to the cells, it activates ATP, your DNA downloads new information, you regenerate new cells, body finds solutions to problems. No oxygen and your system is going to go like this. It's going to be starved for energy. So first place I work every organ protocol. By the way, I didn't make this up. I learned this from smart little Taoists over in the Far East who've been doing this for like 2,000 years. They passed this down for thousands of years. They call it Qigong. Well, this is Qigong, only we cheat with the cheat Qigong, you know. We're using the laser. They spend they spend years cultivating their ability to activate these areas with Qi, with energy. Well, we're in the West. We're very busy over here. So we cheat a little bit. It's a great protocol, and anyone who wants to learn how to do it without lasers, I always show people in our seminars how to use the still point process to work on these organs. Well, you want to do it easy? For me, I do easy laser, you know, once a week. Get on our conference calls. This is what I say when I say Quantum Wave is much more than just a product. You buy the product, and we also invite people onto our conference calls, our live streams. We give out protocols constantly, and I'm not a doctor, I'm not an expert. The only thing we do is share protocols that Lily and I use in our lives. And I always tell people, don't believe me, don't trust me, I don't know anything, because I don't like to think. Thinking, from my perspective, is highly overrated on planet Earth. If you think, you can't rest in still point. I take still point any day. Everyone go ahead and take a nice big breath in. Drop into the space in between and just rest here. I'm simply sharing, as Lily and I have done for years in our seminars, this is what we do. You try it. You see if it's real. If it is, great, then do it. If it's not, don't do it. I don't ever do anything that isn't real for me. I never want anyone to do anything unless they try it and it makes sense. They feel the result, and they say, that's our entire network is based on that principle. As can be exemplified by emissaries there. I'm not sure if Margarita's there. We got emissaries in the Bev, Maryland. We got emissaries in the area there. Some are here today, some aren't because of the farming that's going on right now. Barb and Bryn. I'm not sure who's there today. If they're there, the people that have been in our community and have been doing this can attest to the fact that these protocols are helpful in their experience. Yet you try it, you make sure it's real. Okay, that's the first thing, the lungs. The second organ I want to go to, and we're going to move quite right along here, is the kidneys, below the adrenals in the low back. Below the adrenals in the low back. That's good. The kidneys, from my perspective, are the battery. So when I open the lungs, my goal is like the carburetor. We bring in energy, the fuel, we load up the kidneys. The kidneys are very simple in life. The kidneys, in Chinese acupuncture and in theory, they say if you have low kidney energy, you get problems. So the challenge with a lot of folks, if the kidney energy gets low, the different systems are now undervitalized. If you're noticing your system's getting a lot of a weakened immune system stuff, a lot of emotions, it's like this. If your kidney energy is weak, then when you go out in the world, someone coughs, that knocks you, that hits you. If someone has a lot of emotion near you, it knocks you over. You don't follow through. If you have strong kidney energy, your body keeps going with what it's doing. It just keeps on going. Stuff falls down, stuff's happening. On a recent trip we were on, we went one place and there was a volcano going off. We went somewhere else, there was a hurricane. We went somewhere, everywhere we went there was some different thing going on. And as a result, we just kept staying in still point, keep the system going. There are major challenges happening on our planet right now. There's all sorts of things going on every single day. Economics, politics, different solar flares happening every other week. So last week we had a huge solar flare come out. There's right now, huge changes. There's major shifts going on. Keep your kidney energy strong every day. Really important. Keep the kidney energy nice and vital and strong every day. I just moved it around. When I do this work over the kidneys, I look around. I'm leaning back. Particularly good for any guys with low back pain. I've had numerous guys tell me they had chronic back pain. They began working on their kidneys every day. Back pain gone. Week 2 later, back pain gone. By strengthening kidneys. Anyone want to look younger? Strengthen kidneys. Anyone dealing with autoimmune challenge? Lyme's. I had 2 people tell me from Lyme's disease, if they strengthen their kidneys, their system is able to keep moving forward. Fibromyalgia. This is basic physics. It's no different than your car. Your car doesn't run. What's the first thing you check? Does it have fuel? Kidneys are the gateway. They're the battery life, the battery for energy. Okay, that's the kidneys. I'm going to do one moment on them with quantum. I often do quantum on the kidneys. I was on Unity. I just changed to quantum, which feels great. Jeez, does that feel good? The more you work with our system, you'll be able to tell. We have a lot of folks that say there's 1 or 2 programs that they love. They put it on and it just, for them, it's like they're, which is no different than on TV. TV, most people have like 3 or 4 things that are their main ones they like. Shopping, cooking, for some people this. I like Discovery, Nova, Aliens. Those are the things that for me, if I'm good, I don't watch a lot of TV, particularly when we're home. When we're on the road, I don't sleep so good, so I end up, watching a local, occasionally there's some great shows on local cable station, or that to me is what I'm drawn to. Lasers the same way. Some people are drawn to this one. As you start using it, you'll get a sense which ones are the ones that feel good and have an effect. Okay, that's the kidneys. The third key area I want to go to is the liver. And the liver's on the right side of the body, halfway up the spine on the right side of the body. And I'm on quantum and it feels great. You'll see I'm kind of rubbing the laser a little bit around the area. This is what other companies do. I was watching this infomercial. They're just rubbing it around the area. Just rubbing it. I usually let it sit, but occasionally right here today for me, this feels great. The liver, by the way, is what purifies and cleanses your blood. Just like the car, each system has its own area. The radiator does this. The fuel line does this. The battery system does this. Same thing here. Your liver does your blood. Your liver purifies your blood, it cleanses your blood, and most important to me, it activates the somatids, the life energy in the blood. When your liver is strong and clean and not overburdened with toxins and stress and emotions, blood goes through there and it supercharges the blood so your blood can go around your body and regenerate and find solutions to things. So if you're noticing a weakened immune system, if you're noticing you're napping a lot, if you're noticing you feel like you're really aging, you want to start working over this area. This is basic physics. Big part of our approach to using lasers is an ongoing, and it's part of the reason we're doing this upcoming Still Point Facilitator program for folks that want to learn how to really use Still Point in their life, the entire system, and be versed and able to work with other people, with the laser and also with the Still Point process. All right, that is the liver. By the way, if you go home, occasionally I'll go here, then I'll go off the body a little bit. Occasionally I'll work right on the side down here. Tell you, I often notice which one, when I'm doing a protocol, is the one that's really powerful for me. Today, liver. Why? Because couple of reasons. Liver for me is something that it's an area that I work a lot with the liver to try to keep it really strong, right next, and the gallbladder. It's an area for me that I work on a lot, and to me, clear as day. Right now, today, it's really, really good one for me to work with. Okay, that's the liver. The fourth key area is the spleen. Other side of the body, the spleen. Halfway up the body, the spleen. Just like the liver governs your blood, the spleen governs your lymphatic system. Your lymph system is the key system in your body that is like your bouncer. It tells when something comes in, it's not so good, heavy metals, some kind of toxin, pesticide. Your lymph goes to that area. It says to that area, all right, what are you doing here? We got to contain you. We got to export you out through one of the detox elimination systems. Most people on planet Earth's lymph system is highly underactive. I can't say this enough. To me, this is probably in the West one of the areas that is the most underactive areas in our people. Why? Because people are stressed. When your body is stressed, the lymph system gets shut down. And because people are being barraged with chlorine and other toxins and chemicals. Chlorine is a gas. People are showering in it, they're drinking it, they're bathing in it, they're swimming in it, they're wearing clothes and sheets. Chlorine is a gas. What makes lymph special is lymph has very high spinning electron activity. Lymph, the electrons are spinning very fast. Chlorine has a provable effect at degrading and slowing electron spin down, which is somehow awfully ironic that we're using it as a way to completely shut down collectively our people's health. Chlorine's a gas. It shuts down electrons. It's like the antidote to lymph is chlorine. So do what you can to get chlorine out of your life. And the good news is the stronger we get our lymph system, the stronger the spleen is, the stronger the thymus gland is, the stronger, and we walk you through how to do that, the stronger the lymph system is, the more the body can process that chlorine. In other words, in the rock, paper, scissors game, lymph lymph beats gas. Lymph is ether. Ether beats gas. That's why I always tell people, from my perspective, lymph is the future of medicine. Lasers aren't the future of medicine. Lymph is the future of medicine. When we understand collectively how to keep our systems vital, strong, a lot of ether, a lot of high-spinning electrons, our body can find solutions to anything going on the planet. Anything going on in the universe, because lymph in the body is like the space in the universe. It is the major commodity and resource of the human body. It's in the cell. It's in the fluid around the cell. It's in the lymph system. It's in the blood as plasma. It's in the cerebral spinal fluids. This high-spinning ether energy is everywhere in the body. In fact, my goal in using lasers is, from my perspective, not all lasers, the approach that we take to lasers, we do some very specific things to the light to help spin the light into a way that's going to activate and induce these nonlinear high-spinning electron formations and activities in the body for ultimate health. That is another, we're not going to get into that too much today. That's really our alchemy approach to using lasers, and we get into that in our seminars, and it's a big piece to how I use the laser and how many people in our community use the laser as well. So again, right now we're working on the spleen. The last area I want to touch on today in the organs, again, so far we did the lungs first, then we did the kidneys, then we did the liver, then we did the spleen. Now we're going to the fifth organ, that of the heart. That of the heart. 5 key organs. I tell you, whenever I do this protocol, for like 3 days, I feel great afterwards. You'll see, I don't go right up to the heart. I go over the whole area. Then I just kind of over this general vicinity. In Chinese acupuncture, Taoists who came up with this protocol, they say the heart is like they call the vessel. And they say all these other organs, it's like a contained system. And this is like the heart is the key. They say when all the organs are balanced and the heart is balanced, the heart releases something. They call it, translates to the word Jing. It translates to essence, love. In other words, the goal of all this is to have a good, strong, solid engine so that we can focus in on the key. They say when this essence comes from this alchemy, this internal alchemy, they say that what comes, the essence, that brings brings peace, it brings love, it brings good health, longevity, and happiness. Sounds pretty good to me. I'd take some of those. When I do this protocol, that's what we're saying. We're saying, sign me up for that. As opposed to just sitting around and eating foods that aren't good and watching TV and getting stressed out. Carve out that space every day. It could be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Get on our live stream. Get on our conference call. At least 2 to 3 occasions a week we send out. And you know, we send out these to, I heard yesterday there's like 18,000 emails in our network, which I had no clue. We send this out and we can see a lot of people go on and listen to the conference calls, listen to the live streams. I tell people, take your laser out, go along with it. You listen to a couple of these, you're going to be an expert. For me, I don't know how people live on planet Earth without taking some space. This is a tool. For the price of a cup of coffee a day, you could literally consider that. You know, for what you could be doing, drinking coffee and activating your adrenals, you could every day be carving out some space to unwind and dissolve and come back here. And I can tell everyone drop into still point, yet I can tell we're all in still point. I don't need to tell everyone to drop in because we're there. I can. It's clear. All right, so this is the heart. By the way, when you're home and you do this, don't not do it. I often ask people, are you doing the protocol? And people will say no. And I say, why not? And they say, well, we got home, we forgot where the points were. Don't not do it. If you're home, go like this. Just pretend or make it up. They're your organs. They're all in here. You know, if you do this is like the shortcut protocol. You're going to get the lungs. You're going to get the kidneys. You're going to get the liver. You're going to get the spleen. You're going to get the heart. Just simply go like this. These are your organs. You grow them every single day. And by the way, I tell everyone in every seminar we do, if you're still here on planet Earth, I don't care what challenge you're dealing with, I don't care what diagnosis or what's going on in your experience, if you're still here, you are doing great. I saw in Discovery, they said there are 200 billion stars in our galaxy. Then they said there are at least 200 billion other galaxies. That's the part that I said to Lily. I said, did I hear that right? She was in the kitchen. I said, did I hear that right? 200 billion other galaxies that have at least 200 billion stars. That is profound. So from my perspective, like I said, I don't care what's going on. If you're still here, any person I work with, if they're still here, miraculous. Miraculous. And what do we know? The body's about to be different. Let's dig in. Let's see what we can do to help make the next moment more energy, more coherent, so the body can find solutions and we can have a new moment. Now that doesn't mean everyone stays. Everyone I have news is going to leave pretty soon anyways. This thing's like a blink of an eye here on this planet. So let's do what we can. We're not doctors. I'm not trying to tell anyone any protocols. This is a tool, like a hammer is a tool. Hammer helps build homes. Helps the carpenter build the home. This is a tool. It donates energy. It has a nice relaxing, unwinding effect. All I do is use it on different areas. My goal is to relax, unwind. Let the body heal things. It's capable. It has this neat, nifty thing in the center of every cell called DNA. What is DNA? It's like the GPS, the internet. It's downloading information into every cell to tell the cell how to find solutions to problems and how to replicate another cell. The biggest impediment to that process is when the body gets stressed, adrenaline gets released, and it freezes that process. When it freezes the process, there's no cell energy, there's no new DNA coming down into the system, the body atrophies, kind of goes sideways. My goal, again, repeatedly, unwind so the body resets in still point, then the DNA starts coming down line. How could I know more about you or someone else than you do? There's no other expert. You are the expert, not you the personality, you the DNA that's downloading information and is the reason you're here in every moment. So go home, get a nice pat on the back, because if you're here, you're doing great. And let's dig in. What can we do to help this next moment be more regenerative than the last one? That's my approach to wellness. I appreciate all of our emissaries there and everyone who's come and the customers and folks in our network for coming today. It's always a great joy for me to share and work with folks. We always, Lily and I, prefer to be there. So we very much wish we could be there. We're glad the technology is here that we could pipe in and be able to share over this new system. So on that note, everyone go ahead, take a nice big breath in.